Ladies and gentlemen, got a new video for you guys. I've been breaking hood straps lately, so it's been an interesting few weeks. Last week the alternator went out and couldn't rebuild it, so got one on loan right now from a good buddy of mine. Went and replaced this hood strap. Nice brand new one, bought it from eBay for 20 bucks. And it's nice and tight too. Right after I do that, or change that out, the other one broke. And it's like, geez. So I don't know if you guys with internationals have ever had these happen or break before. They're not hard to change. You just pull 3 screws here, 2 screws here. This just goes straight through here. There's nothing holding it in except itself. And then you just have a little pin and a snap ring on the thing here. If you look, here's the end that goes inside the here. So that's all. Now the reason I'm opening the hood is because my water pump is going out. NS9987 had the same problem with his bus, and he chose to pay somebody to do it, and it's really not hard to do. Let me get up here. I'm going to show you step by step how to change this out. You can see it right down there. It's, zoom in here. It's not that, difficult. I foresee the worst part of it being this. There's 2 bolts down here that attach the power steering pump bracket right to this water pump. So, but, let me zoom back out. I don't know if you can see. Maybe you can. It's not really wobbly today, but the bearing is grinding, and I've had some antifreeze down below, so, and while I'm at it, I'm changing these 2, let me zoom back out, changing the 2 power steering pump belts, because they're looking a little frayed. They're probably still good, but just to be on the safe side. I think the hardest thing to take out is going to be this heater hose, and the rest of it from there is just all basic. First thing you'll want to do is, the compressor has 4 bolts on the bottom of it. Power steering pump needs to be loosened as well, so those belts will come off. And then the alternator has to be loosened, and you just have that top bolt and the bottom pivot bolt. And this is the alternator that was loaned to me. It's a Delco 22SI. The old one was a Lease Neville, and it's not working properly, so anyway, and then once you get the alternator and the belts off, then you'll want to go in here, and if you look, you can't really see in there, but yeah, there we go. You take those there's 4 bolts holding the fan clutch to the pulley, and I think those also hold the pulley to the water pump. Now, one thing to note, when you get a water pump, have all the parts in here. I'm not sure how many gallons the radiator holds. I've heard somewhere between 4 and 6. So I have 4 gallons of antifreeze. I'm going to try to run like a 60-40 antifreeze to water ratio. There's the 2 power steering belts. 200, and because I'm getting the belts were 60 some odd bucks, so it would be closer to 180 because it was $243 altogether. I got, here's what I have. Let's see here. Move these jugs out of the way. Alright, so there's your thermostat gasket. Thermostat, 190 degrees. So, and it fits in the gasket. I've already checked. Open it up here. Go, thermostat. So you'll want one of the proper ones for the 7.3 engine if that's what you're working on, and not a improper one. It's got to have that black rubber on it. Here's the gasket for the water pump and the hardware. Not sure what those 2 bolts are for. Some RTV. Always nice to have RTV. And here's the pump. Now if you look, the pulley right here has a skinny shaft off the bottom of it. the Ford 7.3 and 6.9 pulleys have a different pulley. So if you're doing an international, you need to make sure and get the right water pump and not the Ford one because it's different. And then of course I got 4-gallon jugs of antifreeze. So that's the parts. It's like I said, it's really not going to be hard. If you look, I know it's kind of hard to see on this. There's a bolt here, 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 here. A couple on the bottom, and then a bunch on the side here, and that's really it. And I've been told that it matters which bolts go where, so that's going to be fun too. But from what I've been told by the mechanics at the bus barn, the hardest part about this operation is scraping the old gasket off. So that's really about it. There's the total price, so that's not too bad. And the thermostat goes in right down there. So that may be difficult to get to as well. I'm not sure yet. This alternator bracket may have to come off. I believe that's an air conditioning compressor bracket. So, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's where we stand. More to come. Alright, so alternator's loose. All the belts are off. Be sure to slide them around the fan. That makes it easier. And loosen your fan clutch bolts on your pulleys, which are right up here. Loosen them before you loosen up all your belts, because if there's tension on them, then you don't have to hold the fan to when you put pressure on those bolts. There's 4 bolts. They're right here. And this is why you need to make sure, if you have an international, to get the international water pump as opposed to the Ford water pump, because the pump is the same, but that pulley there is completely different. On the Fords, it has a thread on it to screw the pulleys on, and on this one, the pulley just fits on. It's a friction fit. I'll take the air compressor pulley here and I'll show you, because since this is an air compressed or an air brake bus, so the pulley just goes right over like so. It fits on. So just like that. Where is it? I don't see it. Right there. Anyway, so it just slides right over. So be sure you have the right one. Your bolts for the pulley are a standard thread. They're not a reverse thread. So more to come in a second. Oh, also, before I go any further, I'm going to have to take off the water, or the power steering pump, which is this bolt and this bolt. They're held onto the water pump with the, or it's held onto the water pump, and it has flexible hoses, so I can just set it right up on top of the fuel filter here. I'm taking the alternator bracket off as well, even though it's not part, because I'm changing the thermostat, which is right underneath the bracket here. So more to come in a second. Alternator pump off these two, or alternator bracket I should say, these 2 bolts right here from your upper hose, that's where your thermostat is, so you just undo those and it'll come off. Another thing to note is the bolts here on this are 2 different sizes. That's the top one and that's the bottom one. Thermostat is right here, and it looks just like my new thermostat, so we're good to go. I won't put the new thermostat in quite yet, though. I'm going to take the pump off first. As you can see now, you got kind of a good view of the front of the pump. It should be pretty quick and easy here, coming off. Ladies and gentlemen, pump is off. Had to take the power steering pump all the way off, which sucks because I can't remember how I put the bracket on, so I'm going to have to go watch part of this video. It's okay. Old pump's right here. You can hear it. You hear how nasty it sounds. How bad the bearing's gotten. The new bearing is nice and quiet. No noise whatsoever. So anyway, now all that's left to do is get a razor blade and scrape all that gasket crap off. And it looks like when Tomball put this on that no, there is a gasket there. Okay. Alright. Yep, it just comes right off. So that'll work. So, and then Installation is reverse. Now, one thing I did do, because all bolts for this water pump are not created equal, so I did this. You may have seen it just a second ago. All of these bolts are various sizes, so better to be on the safe side than not be on the safe side. So there's all the bolts. It's just pretty much reverse installation. Taking a beer break here. Beer's in the bus. So the object here is to get most, if not all, of the gasket material cleaned off. So thermostat gasket's pretty much well off. There's still a little bit of crap on there, but you know, as long as you seal it with silicone, it should be okay. I missed a spot right there. So I'm using just a regular scraper, razor blade. I'm just coming through right here and just getting it all. So and I've used some brake clean on it. I don't think getting brake clean into that residual antifreeze is going to hurt anything. I think if anything, all it's going to do is clean the radiator out a little bit before it evaporates, because it'll evaporate. So, and there's, you know, it wasn't much. It was just a little spritz. Tried to use it on a rag, but it seems easier. Sorry, I guess you can't see any of that, to just get that. So, all right. So next, I'm going to put some. I'm going to take the water pump, the new water pump gasket, and get it ready. The new gasket is right somewhere over here, right here. So, and it will go on. I'm going to get some of that red silicone here in a second. Put it on the back. The gasket's just going to go on just like that. Pretty simple. And the new pump will go right over it. So, that's next. Reinstalled the thermostat and the upper heater hose. I just got or upper radiator hose. I got to put the upper heater hose on. Luckily, the nice people at Tomball left me enough that I can cut that end off, and we'll still be good. So, no big deal. So, I like that. They're alright. And the pump's on, so installation is pretty much reversed. Got to put the power steering pump bracket back on, and the power steering pump. Put the pulleys on. Put the belts on, or put the pulleys on, and the fan. Put the belts on, and then we're golden. So, and then hook everything back up. So more in a second. All right, we're starting to look like we did before we got doing anything. Power steering pump's back on. Figured out how to put the bracket on, so it's on nice and tight. And not only that, if you look right down there in the corner of the bracket, which is right there where my finger's pointing to, that bolt on this bus loves to come loose and is the 99% cause of all my oil leaks. So I put some silicone on it, some red silicone. So now I just got to put the belts on. They're very easy to put on. You start with the power steering pump belts, because they're the first two. Alternator are the second two, and air brake compressor is the last. And they just slide right over the fan clutch, right around the fan. You just kind of drape them around the fan, put them on the pump, on whatever they need to go on, and then tighten them suckers down. So that's it. And the only thing I'm nervous about is this is still a little loose, so we'll see how it's sealed. Anyway, that's it for now. Hang on, we'll show the finished product here in a little bit. So we're all set. The only thing I'm worried about is this right here is kind of loose. I did put silicone down there, so it should seal, but we'll see. We're all good there. That's a heater hose, so if it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to get a pipe wrench out here. That's all good. Here's the coolant tank. It's filled up to about here with 6 gallons of antifreeze and water. So, I don't know where my third antifreeze jug is. It was over here. Oh well. Oh, there. No. Anyway, so I'm using distilled water. When you do a water pump thermostat, you always want to use distilled water. And get yourself some of this. It's Good stuff. DTs require it. So there's my container. So it's just an additive to keep everything nice and pretty. And you saw how clean the front of my engine was without the water pump on. Alright, let's fire her up and see what she'll do. Alright, engine's on. You see that you saw just a second ago below the pulley was antifreeze that dripped out of the water pump when I took it out. That's so good. So, there's how you do it. It's 9 o'clock now, p.m., and it was, whoops, kicking over the water pump. It's a little after 9 p.m. now, and I started here about 4 o'clock. So, there you go, about a 5-hour job, and all I used was hand tools, no power tools. So, there you go. Enjoy.